Chapter -3.3 Time Game Visit by Frank. The rest of us returned to Angel's Tower before we went to the time game. Angel had invited us for morning tea. Darling appeared with tiny cupcakes decorated to look like clocks and watches. On the top of each cupcake she'd used pieces of licorice and tiny silver balls to create the face of an old-fashioned clock. We all congratulated her as she busied herself serving us hot tea and blueberry juice. "I thought these cakes would be nice before your visit to the time game," she said, looking excited. I could scarcely look at her in case I laughed, but not in a nasty way, just because she was so pleased with herself, and none of us could bear to tell her that we'd just had breakfast. "You've done exceptionally well," said Angel. "Thank you." Darling bowed low and made her little flamingo sounds. And then, turning to us, Angel asked, "How are you all settling in?" "So well," said Sky. "Thank you." "I still haven't found any proper rooms," said Angel. "Oh, please don't," I blurted out. "We love the treehouse. We'd honestly stay there forever," said Ben. "We would," added Minnow. Angel laughed. "Of course," she said. "You have one of our best tree houses." We smiled, feeling very lucky. "But one day," said Angel, "you may have to give it up so that newcomers can have the same introduction to Marescimar." I couldn't help feeling a little greedy, but not so much that I would ever offer to move out of the treehouse. It was too good. "Now, Jax, I have a surprise for you," said Angel. The doors to the observatory opened, and in walked Asmax and Xavier, Jax's mother and father. I'd forgotten how imposing her parents are. They're not giants, but they're so tall. After giving Jax a hug, they stood staring at us, their dark eyes kind but concerned. Even just looking at them made me feel quite mesmerized. But when they started speaking, I wondered if I would go into a complete trance. Jax's father smiled at us. "I will begin," he said. "Asmax and I are worried." Asmax nodded. "As you know," continued Xavier, "we live in the land of ice and fire, and we believe that something is wrong." Asmax touched Xavier's arm and then spoke. "We think that someone is trying to create a time storm, a time hurricane, if you like, something that would damage the fabric of reality and time in the land of ice and fire." "What does that mean?" I asked, remembering that being bold is important at Marescimar. "Nothing good," said Xavier, frowning at me. I felt a bit worried that he thought I was stupid, but I kept my head high. "We are not sure what it means," said Asmax, "but we are here to ask you to be vigilant with the time game." Blizzard nodded. "Thank you for the warning," he said. "It's important," said Angel. "We're going there now." "I'm sorry that we don't have time to join you," said Asmax, "but we trust your expertise." "Our future is in your hands," said Xavier. "Thank you." He nodded at me as he and Asmax left the room. I felt pleased that I'd spoken. After we finished our morning tea, Angel led us onto her private balcony. "I'll be taking you to the time game today," she said, "in my private flying ship." Sky gasped when she saw it. "Yes, dear Sky," said Angel. "It's a miniature pirate queen. She was given to me by you when you're all grown up." Sky shook her head. "I can't wait to be Stella," she said. Blizzard laughed. "You are Stella," he said, "and she often says that she wishes she was 11 again, so be careful what you wish for." "Yes," said Angel with a smile, "always be careful about what you wish for. But I say it's fine to want to be older when you're young and younger when you're old. It's part of life, surely." Blizzard rolled his eyes. "You would argue that red is purple and purple's red." Angel smiled. "Come on," she said. "I've named my flying ship Vesper. She's such a lovely boat." We all climbed aboard and waited while Angel raised the sails, and the pirate's flag, of course. To guide us on our way, there were thousands upon thousands of time fairies, all bustling about, fixing the rigging and tending the sails. Before we settled in for the ride, Fun, Goad and Goliv were with us, large as life. "We asked if we could be your chaperones," said Goliv. "Yes," added Goad. "We're allowed to do it every time you go to the time game." "Won't the other time fairies be jealous?" asked Sky. "Never," said Fun. "We've all lived across the whole of time and space, which is a very long time, so each of us has had plenty of chances to be upsized." Minnow grinned. "Our own personal fairies." Goad looked a little shocked. "You don't own us," he said. "We're still our own selves." Minnow's face fell. "Oh, of course," she said. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to insinuate that you belonged to us." "It did sound a bit like that," said Goad. "Then I do apologise," said Minnow. "Accepted," said Goad, his face brightening. "Off we go," said Blizzard, as Angel untied us from the balcony. Chapter -3, More Bawiam, by Frank. As we flew high above the mountains of hope, we could see the pink and orange rocks that make the magical dust of hope. I wondered if Darling was down there somewhere, foraging. She so loves bringing hope back to Marescimar to share with everyone. It wasn't long before we reached the Time Garden. The plants were shifting shape and colour, and their movements were so hypnotising that I thought I might fall asleep. I reminded myself to focus. As we walked through the garden, the clock's humming reverberated all around us. That day it sounded like the ocean, maybe with cellos and snare drums all mixed in, but a billion of them, not just one or two. I began to feel a strange sense of pride that I was part of something so big and so old. It seemed too good to be true. As we were passing by an enormous tree, the earth opened up. "Hello," said Orpheus, walking out from underneath the tree's roots. "This is the tunnel of continuation. You've seen the tunnel of commencement, so this time I thought I'd bring you into the game a different way." We were so excited to see Orpheus. Angel shook his hand first and then embraced him. He then greeted each one of us with a hug. "Come and see our greeting room," said Orpheus, leading us past hundreds of glowworms that lit the corridor. One of the glowworms supersized in front of us and said, "Today is my birthday, and I am extremely honoured to meet you, Skywalker, the future Stellar Walker." Sky beamed at the glowworm and said, "Happiest of birthdays to you." The glowworm gave a strange gurgling giggle before shrinking back down to size. We could hear water splashing somewhere up ahead. "I'm bringing you to the waterfalls by a different way," said Orpheus. "We don't have much time today, so we'll skip the laughing effect if we can." "That's actually good," said Blizzard. "We don't have much time today, so it might be best to skip the laughing effect if we can." When we walked past the laughing cave, I felt a bit disappointed. It had been so much fun falling about and giggling like babies in the soft spray of the waterfalls. Orpheus led us into the large tunnel that led to the royal tunnels. That day, its ornate mosaics were mostly of outer space, but there were still some images of fields and mountains. Suddenly, a lot of noesis entered the tunnel and swirled around, causing the mosaic to shift quickly. "Thank you for visiting the royal tunnels," said the deep, low voice of the time game. "Thank you, Bawiam," I said, wanting to be the first to say it. "We've been in the noesis today, and I saw classrooms full of boys all sitting at their desks, but there was a sense of sadness all around them, and I could hear their hearts weeping." Bawiam groaned. "Your words make me feel a deep sense of sorrow," Guy said. To know that so many hearts are feeling like this. Bawiam paused and we all felt a strange sense of grief. Far too many boys feel as if they have to be kings of the world, but they don't have to be, not at all. Why do they want to be kings? I asked. The devious nature of evil wants to make people feel small, said Bawiam. But they can't feel small if they have nothing to compare themselves to. So evil tries to fill the universe with images of power and glory, things that can make others feel less than. I nodded, but I wasn't sure I really understood. It's not just boys, said Bawiam. Everyone feels it. If they're born with a small body, they want to be bigger. And if they're big but not smart, they feel inferior. If they have light skin, they want dark skin. If they have dark skin, they want it lighter. In some places, girls are not allowed to go to school at all. They are made to feel stupid. And people like Goad are treated as if they are different and wrong. Far too many don't have enough money, or they feel as if they don't have enough money. Many have very sad family lives. This is often caused by the time virus. And so the list goes on. Bawiam spoke slowly, but everything he said made sense to me. So many of the people I know at Lowood feel less than because Van Diemen's Island is treated as if it's the worst part of Kingsland. It's horrible. All this comparison robs people of the simple pleasure of feeling happy, said Angel, of being glad to be alive, happy to look at the sky, and grateful to have water to drink and food to eat. Sky smiled. I feel glad to be alive, she said, now that the time virus has stopped harming my family. Good, said Bawiam. That's so good. But far too many people feel as if they're doomed. Is there any hope? Asked Minnow. Of course, said Bawiam. Oh my goodness, yes, of course. Open your ears and your other senses. A song suddenly filled the tunnel we were standing in. Not all of it made sense, but some of it did. I knew it because my parents used to play it often. Dad always says that money and status don't matter and we need to stop chasing them. In that royal tunnel, some of the song's words stood out. Time isn't holding us, time isn't after us, same as it ever was, same as it ever was. I felt as if the song was reminding me to search for what's really important, not just what people say is important. There's more to life than money and things, said Orpheus with a grin. Did you read my mind? I asked. No, said Orpheus. I would never do that. I know, I said, grinning at him. We all have more than enough time, said Angel. Loads of it, in fact. We need to spend more of it being glad, being calm, enjoying life. But evil wants us to think that there's never enough time, never enough, never enough. Minnow nodded. I know, she said. You're 10,000 years old, and Bawiam, you must be the oldest being in the universe, so you know from experience that time goes on and on. But we're taught to worry that time is running out, that everything's running out. It's like we're in a constant state of lack, said Ben. But we're not, said Sky. We all stood still, listening. Life, said Goad. We all have life. You are on the right track, said Bawiam. Very much on the right track. Blizzard laughed. Life can be very good, he added. More than good, said Bawiam. The best. The betterest best, said Goliv. Play the song again, said Goad. Please. The tunnel filled with the sound of the song, and when it got to these words, Bawiam joined in, his voice booming out. You may ask yourself, Well, how did I get here? And then, as usual, we all fell about laughing. I wondered if we'd ever stop.